Hey everyone, this is Greg at the Custom Fisherman here with Chris Adams, Wind Grip, and MHX Pro Staffer. We're out here on the St. John's today. Clouds are coming in, just a touch of a breeze, and we're going to be hitting some vegetation and structure with crankbaits. And Chris, a lot of people don't associate, Florida and structure and a lot of treble hooks. So how do you go about, selecting a crankbait for the environment we're fishing today?
Yeah, we've got a couple ways that we go about it, and really two ways are we're going to find areas that have no vegetation with different structure. So we've got guys that put brush piles out, and we've got FFWCC, Florida Wildlife Management guys that put brush piles out as fish attractors. We also have shell bars here. And then on the vegetation side, we have vegetation that grows up off the bottom. They call it emergent vegetation. So there's times that we purposely get hung in the grass. So for that, we're going to throw just your standard rattle bait. This is a Rattle Trap. Gold and black is always really good here in Florida. I am purposely throwing this as far as I can, letting it get in the vegetation, and I'm using the treble hooks to tear the grass. So I'm popping it. I want a fast action rod, a little bit of backbone, but nothing really heavy to pull these treble hooks. But I'm tearing that grass. I'm tearing it, and as soon as it pops out, those fish are in the grass, and they get it.
So it's that tearing off the weed that triggers the strike, not just a fish swimming.
Right.
It's that disruption and reaction bite.
Yep, absolutely. And that's where your Rattle Trap. This is a Snatch 70. Any kind of those. It's got a real quick wobble, kind of a trimmer. It's got a rattle in it. So that's what you're going to do around that emergent vegetation.
Gotcha. Know about some of the deep diver ones here.
So for here, we're going to run around the river today. I've got a few shell bars that we're going to do. So sometimes you get a bend in the river, and then you get a pocket. So on that pocket and point, it tapers off, and there's shells on it. So for that, we're going to use some of the DD series stuff. This is going to actually throw it out, and you're just going to wind it. You're going to wind it and stop it, wind it and stop it as it's actually digging into the bottom.
Gotcha.
So this bill is going to it's going to chew on that bottom, and it kind of hunts. It doesn't just run in a perfectly straight line.
Right.
That really doesn't do much for us.
So it's kind of zigzagging as you're working it in.
As it's bouncing off of shells and kind of creating a disturbance on the bottom, and the bass come over and grab it.
Gotcha. So the structure is a combination of depth more than, a fallen log or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
With these rounded bill baits, we're typically just chewing on the bottom on shell bars, or if it's rocks, if we're on a southeastern reservoir somewhere where we're fishing rocks and things like that.
Right.
So,
and that was a rounded bill. This is a square bill. Where do you use these guys for?
Absolutely. This right here, this is very, you can use it a lot of different places. You can use this around vegetation because you can actually still tear this out pretty good.
Gotcha.
It doesn't really want to dig into the vegetation like a longer bill crankbait does. But you can also use this around docks. When you have the square bill, it's like a four-wheel drive,
Gotcha.
bait. So you can throw it up there, and it'll deflect off of something. It'll deflect off that log. It'll deflect off of a dock piling. But then it'll also run down a grass line fine, And of course, the bluegill, this only runs about 4 to 6 feet at the most on light line. So that's where the bluegill live. That's why we choose this color and get it to deflect off the cover.
So kind of the Rattle Trap, good in grass, ripping it through, rounded bill, deeper divers, more depth structure than vegetation.
Right.
And the square bill kind of fits in the middle there, best of both worlds. Experiment, see what the fish hit, and use that one.
Yep,
right?
Absolutely.
There you go. We'll see you next time.